I have to share something with you runners about running shoes and unnecessary risk. Hi everyone, my name is Steve Gonzo, physical therapist with RunSmart Online, and I had a patient, today's Tuesday, so I had a patient yesterday who came in dealing with a lot of ankle pain, a lot of ankle injury. For a while, they were running he told me that he was really injured as a runner for a long time. Then he worked on his run form, improved it, his run form improved, and then all of a sudden over the last 3 months, I think it's been longer than that, since COVID. So about a year, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries, and I want to share with you why and what this means for your running, because this is really important. It's an easy thing to worry about or not have to worry about, because in the world of running, there's a lot of ways to get hurt, and when you don't do what this guy did, it takes one of those things off the table. Real quick, there is a link in this post to the RunSmart app, so if you like these videos, you want more help with your training, strength training plans, be sure to check out the RunSmart app. So the big thing that this guy did, running healthy for 2+ years, he went to a running store locally here in Buffalo, and they scanned his feet, and they said, well, you supinate, so I think you need these type of shoes. And we had this long discussion about shoe type and shoe fit, and I want to make it very clear for a couple of reasons when you're looking at shoes and how I usually address shoes and when to change them, that kind of thing. So if you are running for a long time pretty successfully, not a lot of injuries, and you're just successful at it, you're just not getting hurt a lot, I would tell you, no matter what anyone says, to really not change your shoes ever. Whether they say, well, you supinate a lot, you have a high arch, you have a low arch, whatever it might be, because once your body acclimates to something, it's very good at keeping things status quo and keeping you healthy. Go Bills is right, Paul. So this guy had a high arched foot, and he was in a shoe that someone would look at and say, well, you probably shouldn't be in that shoe anymore. But the problem was his body was used to it at this point. And I see this a lot in the clinic. I'll have a runner come in, I'm like, I don't think that's the right shoe for you, but because you're successful in running in it, because you're feeling good with it, there's no reason to change it. Your body does really good, and this is what I told him, your body does really good at adapting to change slowly over time. So even if you have the wrong shoe and you work through some of the kinks with it, your body gets used to it, even though it's the wrong shoe, your body is used to it being the wrong shoe. The worst thing you could do is apply shock to the system and change your shoes for something that looks, I told them, it either matches your outfit, which guys really don't care too much about that usually. So people change their shoes because it matches an outfit better, or because they get advice about trying a different shoe. There is no reason to try a different shoe if you're running successfully. In fact, the only time I really recommend it is if you're not successful in running, you're continually hurt, you're feeling like you're a piece of glass, and you just can't get over anything, then you start looking at the shoe. And I think that's a really important piece. That when I change shoes, for example, if I have a runner who comes in, particularly some of my younger runners who are very light, they're running cross country, and they're in shoes that are just way overbuilt, their shins hurt, their knees hurt, everything hurts, we'll look at those things. But adult runners, if you have something that's working for you, please stick with it. Now, a lot of times I get questions about, what about Nikes? What about Ultras? What about, exactly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ultras, Newtons, I won't bring Newtons into this conversation because I'm not a huge fan, but Hoka's, Asics, all these different brands of shoes. I'm not brand loyal to a brand of shoes, and I often tell my runners, I'm category specific. So what you want to do is find the right category, whether it's motion control, whether it is neutral or stability. Once you get into the category you need to be in, there's a lot of variations between the two. The key thing is just finding something that works. And one of the best things that I like to do is put someone in a category, whether it's neutral, light stability, or motion control, and then have someone show you in your local running store, show you shoes inside that category, try them on and see what feels best. It's not super scientific, but it works really well. And there was some research that wasn't a huge massive study, but personal comfort was one of the best ways to determine the right shoe for somebody. So I like to stick with something that feels good on the foot because you're going to be running in it. This often pitches me because this guy who I'm mentioning as a patient also got an insert. And when do I use inserts? When do I not use inserts is a tricky situation. But what I can tell you is that often you can get the amount of support in an insert from the shoe. I rarely ever use an insert unless someone's an in-betweener, like they're kind of a neutral category, but they're also kind of a stability category. We can sometimes bridge that gap with a neutral shoe with a small insert into it to help with control. But I don't use inserts unless we're really struggling with the shoes, or they have something like a massive deformity, like say they tore a tendon and they have no more control, they need all that extra support. Those are the times I'll look at using something like that. But I think the big message here is this, because I'm going all over the place with this, is that consistency is super important when you have your running shoes. You can have multiple pairs, but they should all kind of feel like the same kind of thing in a same category. They shouldn't be one shoe over here, one shoe over here. They should be very close to the similar type of shoe. And consistency, like, don't change. And if you find something that works, keep it. And when you do have to change your shoes, this is my final point for you all, because this is really important. When you do have to change your shoes, don't buy a pair and just start running in them. Think about this. A shoe, let's say it's a Nike Pegasus. Nike Pegasus out of the box is not the same as a Nike Pegasus with 400 miles on it. They're different. That Nike Pegasus with all the miles on it broke down over time. And remember what I said at the beginning of this, your body adapts really well to slow changes over time. So as the shoe breaks down over months, that small change over time, your body adapts and handles. But when you bust out a new pair of shoes out of the box, they're not the same. So I always recommend at least a 2 to 3 week transition into a new pair of shoes. That's another way I see people getting hurt. So just use what works. Stop changing. Don't make drastic changes overnight, and I'm pretty sure you guys can avoid injury. And trust me, I've run in some ugly ass shoes that I'm like, oh my God, like, who picked these colors? Because this doesn't match with anything. But just be consistent. It makes a difference. If you want more help with your running, check out the RunSmart app. There's a link in the post. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.